Football is back.
Oh, amen. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. 207 days. It has been so long. Drafts, mini camps, OTAs, all of it gone. It was real tonight.
Even
Amen.
even the preseason, we blinked and we missed it.
Telling you, man, 3 games, everything. I'm telling you, man, I don't mind the 3 games, but after a while, I was kind of like, can you just give me one more? Just give
Yeah,
me one more.
yeah, right. This didn't quite feel right.
No, not at all.
So the champions opened up their title defense as champions normally do tonight on opening night Thursday kickoff. And before we start going into the different facets of each team that we saw tonight, I just have to get one thing off my chest.
Yes.
Why is Kadarius Toney a football player right now? Did he just lose whatever magic he had in the Super Bowl for that one
Oh,
catch?
no, 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 no. I don't want to hear it. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest thing since sliced bread. He can do anything and everything. So there's no reason. I don't want to hear it. Nope, nope, nope. The Giants could have told him he was busted goods, but no. You know, everyone has their day in the sun, and yeah, his was the biggest sun of all, the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to hear it. No, 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 no. A great day today. I think everyone in America was a Lions fan.
Yeah, probably maybe a little bit outside of the general central part of the country and any pockets of bandwagon fans that have popped up recently.
Exactly, exactly. It was a beautiful game. It's a beautiful game.
So the Lions did upend the champs and steal their thunder a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So and so we'll talk about the Lions first. There's plenty of time to talk about the Chiefs this season.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this isn't gonna be an every week thing, so they'll have their time. But yeah, the Lions, give him credit, man. Dan Campbell, man, that man has no fear. He does what he wants to do, and that's it, man. Unbelievable. Those guys played with heart.
They and I think they probably had a little bit of jitters on the first drive, but then after they kind of shook that off, they really got in. Running Gibbs looks like I guess he's not going to be the starter. Montgomery's the lead dog right now, and we'll get into that in
Mm-hmm.
a minute because he showed why he was the lead dog towards the end of the game. But Gibbs was really running down people's throats early on. And,
Minus that one play where he slipped and fell, where I
yeah,
think he would have scored.
yeah,
He was electric.
yeah.
He is the real deal.
And their receivers, Amon Ra, Amon Ra St. Brown, he didn't have a ton of yards, but he caught a lot of big catches throughout the first half. He had the touchdown to get scoring going early, um, and then the kid Reynolds. I didn't even know
Mm-hmm.
this. I don't know who this kid is. He had a great game.
Yeah, it was a group effort. Like you said, it was just no one stood out, but they showed up when they had to. And I think with this team, that's what you're going to see. I don't think you're going to have that one guy who's going to have that constant big game. I think you're going to find out it's going to be one guy this week, one guy next week. I would have liked a little more of the run game. I think they got away from it. Second, third quarter, they kind of put it on Goff to throw a little too much. But once they went back to the run, they were solid. They were very solid.
Yeah,
You know, and
I thought the same thing, and that their run game was so good in the first half, and it was in the second half, and at this point they hadn't taken the lead back. They hadn't taken the lead back yet. Um, and they went away from the run and they just started passing. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You're only down by 3.
yeah,
You're only
exactly.
down by 3. Like, keep this balance. So Kansas City has no balance, but there's no reason why you should have no balance.
Exactly. Like you had Kansas City on the ropes for most of the game. Like just take your time, run the ball. You know, you can't totally blame Patrick for this loss. Like there were plenty of balls that were thrown that should have been caught, but at the end of the day,
Kadarius Tony.
you know, Sky Moore had a one or two he think he could have had, you know,
Mhm.
but that defensive front for Detroit, well, they were doing it all day. Hutch was incredible.
Ironically enough, the surest hands on the Chiefs looked like the phantom man himself, Marcus Valdez Scantling.
I, you know, and what's going to happen? Of course, everyone's going to say, well, you know, if Travis was there, this wouldn't have happened, and that's fine. And yeah, there's some credence to it, but you really can't go that route if you're going to scream the praises of the almighty Patrick Mahomes and he can do anything, because that's what everybody was talking about. Oh, it doesn't matter who the receivers are. He's going to make it happen. Well, he can't throw it and catch it. And if this is a preview of things to come, they're going to have a rough season. Because if this knee on Kelsey doesn't heal right, or if he's in and out, they got a problem. They need guys to catch the ball.
Right, and that's like, I hope that he doesn't try to rush back out of pride.
Mm-hmm.
And they do need to get used to playing without him, because I don't think they need to find themselves in a situation where he rushes himself back too early, gets hurt, misses an extended amount of time with no clear image or expectation of when he's going to return. And next thing you know, they have to go into the playoffs without him. Like, if he needs to miss an extended amount of time, miss a few games now.
Yeah,
And
exactly. I think you can afford to miss. I think you can afford an early hit at the beginning of the season, and if he comes back, you know, once he's ready, then you start the train. But yeah, he just can't rush back because he feels he's the savior and he needs to come back, because it's not going to end well. It's going to be bad. Now their defense played well. I give their defense credit, you know, but I don't think their defense is a defense that can sit out there all game and their offense puts up 14 points and they're going to carry the team. I don't think their defense is built that way.
yeah,
So they need to really sit down and say, okay, if you guys can't catch the ball, we're going to bring in some guys that will. So it might be something interesting to watch as you get closer to trade deadline. If this becomes a habit, are they willing to mortgage the future, a la the Rams, for one more ring?
yeah.
You
Now,
know?
compare this Lions offense to last year's offense, because they lost a lot of pieces. Their backfield's completely new. Their receivers didn't change too much, but now they'll eventually get Jamison Williams back at some point after he's learns that he can't gamble anymore.
You know, don't gamble on, on team property, Take that home. Go home. Use your phone. No. They felt more confident. I think this offense kind of felt confident. Goff stood in the pocket and delivered some throws. I think I think especially after today's game, people can't just kind of say he's a fluke or he's a quality quarterback. Like I was one that was kind of like, all right, Goff, okay, he'll get you by. He's not bad. He's legit. He is
Yeah,
legit. He's perfect for this offense. He really is. This offense, like I said, feels confident. I think they need to balance the run a little bit more. They've got two guys who can run in the backfield. They're solid overall. That offensive line is great. Those guys will impose their will, it looks like. So, one word: confidence.
who would have guessed that the Detroit Lions would be a better fit for Jared Goff than the Los Angeles Rams?
Well, when the Rams decided, okay, we're going to sell our souls to the devil for that one ring, sure, why not? Let's do it. So, but then you sit there and say, there's no way that Detroit would have looked like this if they kept Stafford. There's no way.
Yeah,
It just would have been Stafford and a bunch of podge, So it's all the credit to Detroit. They looked really good. And right now, all that preseason hype is warranted right now, at least for this week.
Yeah. One thing I like about the running game compared to last year is I
Mhm.
think it looks more consistent for an entire game. Outside of the play calling fiasco, which they went away from and finally got back into before they ran out of time to do so.
Mhm.
Last year you had Swift, who was kind of more of a skirty type of little scat back, shifty kind of guy, and Jamal Williams, who's just a red zone bruiser.
Mhm.
So they were two. They had two lead guys that kind of were typecast, for lack of a better word. And
Yeah.
I look at these guys now. Jameer Gibbs, who is just runs with a head of steam on him, and he's got some moves too. He can run around people. He's got some breakaway speed, but he's not afraid of contact. He just runs into you. And you've got Montgomery, who's the veteran, and he kind of took a little while to get his feet under him in the first half, which maybe that was why Gibbs got the ball more. But in the second half, that drive to score the touchdown,
Oh, it was a great drive.
Montgomery saved that drive. Like every single time Golf gave him the ball, boom, 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 right up the middle.
And what's funny is you didn't see this from him in like Chicago. You didn't see this from him. It was weird. It was almost like he came to Detroit and said, "Okay, clean slate, here I am." And like you said, they're not similar, but they have. I think that as this offense evolves, they're going to have that ability to catch the ball out of the backfield.
Yeah,
They've got that explosion. But yeah, Montgomery will put his head down and bang out 3 or 4 tough yards.
yeah,
You know, and I think they're faster, and I think that fits this offense. This offense to me feels like it's going to be a fast offense. You
yeah.
know, so, but I think they need to make sure that they stick with the run and not get caught up if they have a couple games where, Goff's throwing for 350, 400 and, everything is great. And then, they end up hitting a buzzsaw somewhere and they can't throw for 200 and then they just totally forget how to run.
Yeah.
So I think they need to keep the balance, but those backs tonight were really good. Solid.
Learn from my team. Learn from the Colts.
Hey, maybe the Lions will want to mortgage their future. Hey, you guys could use some picks.
Hey, yeah, we could. I'll take them.
Maybe they'll say we'll throw you a couple ones.
Yeah. Not that they need a running back, but I got a prime one just collecting dust on a shelf right now.
Oh man.
Anyway, defense wise, I think the secondary looked much improved from last year with all the additions they made. Last year's their secondary was Swiss cheese.
Oh, definitely
and
horrible.
and Aiden Hutchinson, although he disappeared a bit in the second half, he was very, very active in the first half. He wound up finishing the game 4 tackles, 3 QB hits. He very much looking like the stud on the D line that he has been so far early in his career. So, what did you think about the Lions' defense, just overall, and as far as trying to pressure Mahomes and get under his skin a bit?
I think like you said, the defense today so much better than last year. Secondary, played solid. Had a couple breakdowns here and there. It's hard for me to give it a real grade because let's be honest, the Chiefs receivers are horrible. Like if they had caught some of those balls, this game in theory could have been different. Let's be honest with it. So there were some gifts there. I'll be honest. There were some gifts, but no, they seemed to move better. They seemed confident. They felt like they could hang with the Chiefs. So the secondary, I think, is still a project, but I think they're starting off good, starting off on the right foot. Hutchinson, incredible. He couldn't be stopped. They moved him all around the line, up and down. So he didn't, they couldn't key on him, which I think was very important. They're going to need some other guys on that D line to step up a bit because he's not going to be able to keep this up all season. He's going to tire out. He's going to burn out. But today he was a beast. That defense, you hold hold the Chiefs to, basically 20 points, it's impressive. Let's be real. 20 points, regardless of whether, Kelsey's there or not, because people are going to hang their hat on Patrick Mahomes. If you're going to hang your hat on him, then you got to give that defense credit, regardless of who else is there. You
Yeah.
just have to.
And we don't historically think of allowing 20 points as being a shutdown defense. But if you're gonna play bend but don't break style, and especially
Mm-hmm.
if you're playing the Chiefs, allowing 20 points looks a lot better than to a lot of other teams.
Especially in Arrowhead.
Yeah.
Now if this game was in Detroit, people would say, okay, well, they were in Detroit, all right, this and that. But they're an Arrowhead, it's like the impenetrable fortress, nothing bad can happen to the Chiefs in Arrowhead, but
Unless you're the
Detroit. Exactly. But what also kind of impressed me were the fans, Detroit fans. There were a lot more
They
Detroit
showed up.
Exactly. Like it almost felt like when Pittsburgh travels, or even when Dallas travels, there are fans everywhere. So I was really impressed with their fans, and you could kind of hear it during the broadcast. Like when there would be a penalty on Kansas City, you would hear cheers, and you'd be like, "Wait a minute! Oh, that's right, they got some fans there." So I thought that also kind of played a role for them. But yeah, the defense I think is going to get better. They've just got to focus on cleaning some things up, make sure that Hutch has got some help on that D line, and then the secondary just continue to grow. But overall, great performance.
Speaking of traveling fans, don't sleep on Buffalo either.
That's true. That's true. You just want some busted up tables there. You know where to go.
Yeah.
They'll bring those tables.
As far as penalties go, I thought it was a fairly evenly called game, but there were a lot on Kansas City's offensive line. And what's that? Jawan something? Is that
Jawan
tackle?
Taylor.
Jawan,
Jawan Taylor. Now, what's funny is
a man of many false starts.
But like through the broadcast, they were talking about how he was farther back than he should have been, and then all of a sudden he gets the call at the end of the game, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting there and you're like, oh, now you want to call it. It's like that commercial now they have for the league, the script.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, were you just waiting and said, okay, this is the perfect time. We're going to give the Chiefs their first loss, so let's wait for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting. The penalties were pretty even keeled, so you can't really say it went one way or the other. That it didn't really affect the game that much.
Now, as far as switching over to Kansas City, we did touch on them a little bit already. The offense wise, obviously the big story tonight was Kelsey's injury, and also this mismatch. To coin one of your favorite expressions, hodgepodge of wide receivers that they collected.
Oh man, they are a special breed. Those guys right there.
Oh.
If any of you out there have them on fantasy, you better just get rid of them, man. You're better off just I don't even know what to. It's horrible.
Actually, I honestly thought Kadarius Toney was hurt. Like I was thinking about I was thinking about drafting him in one of my fantasy leagues. And I kept like clicking on the card and said, need this, need that. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess he's hurt, whatever. And then he's playing, and I'm like, what? Where does this come from?
Yeah, I didn't think he was back yet because I didn't hear anything, so I was like, whatever. I think on one team I took Sky Moore. I was like, I'm thinking maybe he's going to become the guy.
Patrick's got to throw to somebody.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, okay, he's been in the system, he's going to be okay. Nope, that was a hodgepodge mess. I was like, come on. Somebody catch him. The best receiver I think they had was Noah Gray.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't
Noah Gray.
The tight end? Yeah.
Yeah. It was like he didn't try to do too much. It just seemed like he was in the right place at the right time. Because the throws he got were those Mahomes, like, okay, I'm going to backpedal, shift left and right, hit the left bumper, hit the X button. And there he was, and he just slides in. He knew where to be, and I think he looked all right. So, but these other guys, that's a rough bunch.
Yeah. The other note I want to pull out from Kansas City's offense is the fact that how little they even tried to run. Like Pacheco's supposed to be this beast and supposed to be more of a feature back. He took Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's job. Like you'd think with a guy like this that they really like and they really believe in, they would try to have a more balanced offense, but they really didn't. They really didn't even try to have a balanced offense from jump, not even as the game went on, from the get go.
with with Pacheco, I think they're still kind of wanting to see if he's 100% because he did get kind of nicked up in the game. I don't think he's still 100%. I think he was well enough to go, but that's the problem when you've got Patrick Mahomes. It's okay. We can get away from running because Patrick's going to save us, and you can't do that. Now here's the question, and I pose this to you: is it more? This is the first game of the new season, because we know Bieniemy isn't there anymore. He's in Washington. Was this all Andy's calling, or like? Because I know they got Nagy
The
making calls.
infamous Matt Nagy.
Matt Nagy, doesn't wear a hat now, loving the baldness. He's living life. He's like, somebody wanted me because Chicago kicked me to the curb. So now, is it a question of would some of those calls been different if Bieniemy was still on the staff?
I
I don't
will.
know.
I will say the one sequence that really made me scratch my head as far as play calling was at the end of the game when they got the ball back with like 2.5 minutes left,
Mm-hmm.
and they got all their timeouts, and Patrick's just humming it downfield every pass. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and then they're
they
getting
had a
holding
turn.
balls and just moving backwards.
They gave you a turnover on downs. You took the ball over just past midcourt, excuse me, midfield. Wrong sport. Woo! You took the ball back just past midfield. You got
Mm-hmm.
you got a full 30 seconds or so past the 2-minute warning, and you got all your timeouts. Why are you just humming it downfield? You have plenty of time, and you're only down by one.
If this was last year, I think that sequence goes totally different, and it's definitely a lot more run. I think you might get some pass out of the backfield and some different looks. It just was like, all right, Patrick, throw the ball. It's like playing Madden, and you're just like, okay, I'm just going to throw this ball deep. I'm just going to literally pull my guy 10 yards back, just throw it down. Somebody's going to catch it.
Yeah.
And that's what it felt like. Like there was no flow to that offense in that last sequence. So the question is now, was this just an outlier, or when they play, week 2, is it going to be the same thing? Oh, we're in trouble. Patrick, throw us the ball, throw us out of trouble, because teams are going to start to say, okay, fine, let Kadarius run wherever. We don't care. He can't catch anything. Let him go. Okay, we'll just handle Kelsey and go from there, because you're not going to run the ball.
Yeah.
If they start to become one-dimensional, this team's in trouble. Yeah, their defense played decently, but that defense is not built to, carry a team. It's not a team. It's not a defense that carries a team. It's not. So yeah. I don't know. It was really, that sequence was ugly.
And we touched on the defense a little bit because the secondary was very physical and very active against Detroit's wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City's a team that's always been more of the bend don't break type of defense, because
mm-hmm.
when you have Patrick Mahomes, you don't necessarily need to shut an opposing offense down. Just kind of keep them in check. Don't let them go off. Patrick will get you 35 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Do you think this defense, from what you saw tonight, is comparable, very similar to last year's defense, or is it a little bit different? Are they maybe kind of doing some things differently and going to have a different mentality more than just bend don't break?
I think their secondary's gotten a year older. I think their secondary's, I think it's just as good as last year's. I think right now they're kind of struggling to get pressure on the quarterback, maybe a little bit. I think this is where, missing the big guy hurts. I think after this game, you may see contract talks kind of escalate. And they're going to say, we got to get Chris's money because we can't have this. Nick Bolton was great. he was powering through that offensive line a bit. He's a quality backer. I like him, but I think the secondary is their strongest part of that defense because they're young, they're talented, they're fast. But like with any secondary, if your front isn't getting your pressure consistently and such, you're going to fall apart because you can't run around all day. It just can't happen.
Yeah.
So I think their defense is made right now in a way where they're gonna they're gonna be put in the right spots. They're gonna be built to succeed where they need to go. But if this offense stays three and outs, they're gonna fall apart. They're not gonna be able to hang. They won't be able to hang with Burrow, um,
Herbert,
Rodgers.
Lamar,
Yeah, exactly. Like
T
now you're
Law.
if like a mobile quarterback. I don't know if this defense can handle a mobile quarterback. So it's going to be interesting.
So obviously we saw a lot tonight. We've discussed a lot tonight. We have to talk about how they move forward into week 2. Lions off of a win with a little bit of a confidence boost for beating the champs, and then the Chiefs licking their wounds coming off of a loss that champs don't normally take. Um,
Yeah, this was weird because usually I think it's been a little while since the champs have taken a loss week 1. It's been a while.
the only one that I recall was the Ravens, but I put a little bit of an asterisk on that one because the NFL screwed them and had them open on the road in Denver.
Yeah, that's true. It's weird. It's like they have these random years where they're like, no, 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 you're going to go on the road.
Yeah.
You're not going to do that. Or you know what? You're not going to do Thursday. We're just going to put you on Sunday. And you're like,
Oh, that's right. They did that to Tampa, right? They did that to Tampa.
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's right.
That's okay. We move on. We're all right with that.
Let's sigh.
Yeah. I think. Let's see. Detroit. They have every right to go and feel confident this week. Get back to Detroit. Feel good about themselves. But I think they also need to say, okay, we need to be a little better on some points. Secondary needs to clean it up a little bit because we know the secondary is going to be a continuous work in progress. Some other guys besides Hutch need to show up on the D line. But besides that, I think that's what they go in with it and just continue to grow. And I think Campbell's going to keep them grounded. I can't say enough about the guy. I think the guy's an unbelievable coach. This year, I think he's really going to take that next step. I'm not saying he's Super Bowl bound, but I think he's going to keep these guys growing and going in the right direction, and they're going to be dangerous. Chiefs, it's week 1. Okay, they took a loss. Yeah, it sucks, but I think their main thing is making sure they get Kelsey back healthy. You got to get Chris paid. You got to you either pay him or you don't. Now, they said on the broadcast that he wasn't going to hold out for the whole season. So if this really drags out, you're not going to see it until week 8. Do the Chiefs sit there and say, okay, this guy is our defense? Are we going to be 5-3? What's going to happen? So I think they have some things they got to work on, and they need to get the receivers on the jug machines 3 hours a day because they're rough.
So they do have their next games. Each of them are both against quality competition. The Lions are the home opener, and it's a rematch from the season opener last year, playing against the Seahawks, where they put up darn near 100 points between the two of them. So based on what you're saying as far as the Lions coming off the win into the next game, do you think they're okay with minimal adjustments or just or anything close to status quo going into Seattle? Or not into Seattle?
Well, the big thing is the secondary because they're going to see better receivers. You got DK Metcalf, Lockett, and then the rookie out of Ohio State. So the secondary is definitely going to have to clean up their act. Um, Running back wise, I think Seattle's running backs are decently healthy now
Yeah.
going into the season. So, excuse me. So I think they're going to have to watch for that. They'll definitely get a lot more run than Kansas City did. So I think it might be a stiffer challenge, to be honest with you.
A stiffer
Um,
challenge than the champs.
Yeah, and it's weird because now if you sit there and really think about it, you look at you look at the Chiefs the way they were tonight, and you look at Seattle. It's like I don't know, Seattle looks kind of tough on paper. Um, Kansas City just needs to clean it up. Like there's nothing, no way about it. You got your receivers have to clean it up. If your receivers catch 3 or 4 balls tonight, this game could be different. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Make the catches.
Yeah. The Chiefs have possibly, as difficult as the Seahawks could be as an opponent, the Chiefs possibly have a more difficult opponent. They are going on the road, and they're going to Jacksonville.
Ooh,
So,
the
I mean,
Prince.
how is the opportunity? Now, this was something we tossed around this summer that they could lose this game, but I don't know if we thought that them losing this game meant that they'd be losing this game and starting the season 0-2.
All right.
I mean, what do you think now that we've got some tangible evidence as to what Kansas City is? What do you think about this game now?
Well, here's the thing. We were going on the premise that everybody was healthy.
That's true.
Okay, so now the question one is Kelsey back? And if he is back, is he 100%? If he's not, are they going to bandage him up, do whatever just to get him in there, and he's only going to play certain packages, or is
all
he
the
cortisone? Yeah, So I'm going to say that he's probably going to play. I'll say he'll play. He'll be all right. But does Jacksonville sit there and say, "Oh, we smell blood in the water. This is our statement game"? I don't know.
Yeah.
I think excuse me, Peterson's going to sit there and say, "All right, guys, calm it down. They're still the Chiefs. We got to respect them. Let's just play what we do." So it's interesting. I think it's a tougher game now than it was in the summer.
Yeah. Are there any kind of fool's gold? Let's say the Lions are riding high and they pull out this win because I think Seattle beat them last year in this game. So let's say they get some revenge and they go 2-0. Let's say Kansas City's caught licking their wounds. Jacksonville comes out full of piss and vinegar and knocks them down to 0-2. Do you think a 2-0 Lions or an 0-2 Chiefs? Do you think either of those scenarios are some kind of fool's gold?
I think it's way too early still. I believe you got to wait till you get through the first full quarter of the season. Then you can kind of see where you're at. Like if Kelsey still isn't playing week 2, then you've got to sit there and say, all right, now the Chiefs could be in trouble, but let's say they somehow win the next 2 and they get into the first quarter of the season 2-2. All right, yeah. You're treading water. It also depends whatever happens in that division because even though, there's talent in that division, we saw what happened to Denver last year, so we don't know that angle either. So if they come out 2-2, I think they'll take that, but they're going to hope to really turn it on going into the next quarter. But I don't know. It'll be the first time, I think, in a while where the Chiefs have been questioned. And everyone's going to be like, is it the play calling? Do you have to go out and get yourself some receivers because what you have here isn't working? What do you need? Are you going to mortgage your future now? Because if this happens and let's say 8 games, you're 4-4, that's not going to cut it. So I think with the Lions, they just have to take it one game at a time. There was a lot of hype for them this year. Don't buy into it too much. I think you almost have to go in and say, you know what, people still don't believe in us. What we're hearing is exactly fool's gold. We need to go in and pretend that nobody believes in us, and we've got to take it. Because once you start believing the press clippings and the hype, that's when the downfall starts. So right now, I think it's still too early, but I think tomorrow on the radio, some people may be calling for the quick demise of the Chiefs, but I think it's a little too early.
Yeah, definitely a little too early after the opener.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. If Kelsey's out another 2 weeks, then
Things can get harder.
yep, exactly. Kadarius Toney, he ain't the guy.
Well, I like to think we're the guys, and if you're watching, make sure you stay tuned to us. Everyone's got to take it one game at a time. We're going to take it 1 week at a time this season. Our first official show of the season is in the books, my friend. And we'll catch everyone on Sunday for our
First full slate.
official, I guess. Full
His
show
first
of reaction.
official week. Thank God, man. I can't handle this, man. But I also got to say congratulations to the Colorado Buffaloes. Coach Prime. Hell of a win. Hell of a win, man. I watched that game beginning to end. Loved it. Got to give the man his props. The team's on the rise. Taking out Nebraska this week. 2-0.
Prime time is right.
That's it, man. He'll be there for a year or two, and then he's gonna be coaching like the Titans or something.
That's
Watch.
right.
No, the Cowboys.
When Mike McCarthy's gone, it's all
That's it.
script. It's all part of the script.
It's all part of the script, man. You probably can buy that script on eBay or download it somewhere. Someone's got it. Jerry Jones, you know how he loves all that fun.
That's right.
It'll be Deion and Trey Lance.
Dak on your show yesterday.
Yeah, he'll be playing for the Giants or something. We'll figure it out.
Well, my friend, I'll see you Sunday. We'll preview a ton of games, and hope everyone enjoyed the opener.
Enjoy the opener. Leave your questions. Come join us Sunday. Let's have a good time.
Kickoff. Let's do it again.
2023.